Right, we're now going to move to Aberdeenshire. First of all, we've got two representatives of Aberdeenshire with us this evening. First of all, we've got Hilary Franklin, who was born in Oxford, lived in Cambridgeshire, then moved to Germany to work for the army, and then moved to Shetland for 8 years, before finally settling in Lawrencekirk in Aberdeenshire, where she currently has the honour and probably the travail, the labour of being the president of the Aberdeen Synagogue and Jewish Community. So I don't know how much detail she'll share of those travails as president of the community, but I'm going to hand over to Hilary now to give her a chance to let you know about her Jewish life.
Okay. Well, I was born in Oxford to a farming family, and I went to, funnily enough, a high church Anglican school in Oxfordshire. I left as soon as possible and went off and did my nurse training, which meant that I moved around quite a bit. So I moved to Reading, Slough, where did I end up? Oh, in Slough, yeah. So I stayed in Slough, which was fairly near quite a lot of Jewish communities. So I poodled around, and in Reading, I think that's possibly where I met Simon and Sarah, who will be talking later on. And then I worked in Ely, trained off to be a radiographer, and worked at Cambridge in Addenbrooke's. I have my son there, and we spent quite a few years in Cambridge. And then I went to work for the army in Germany. Get out, you two. I have two dogs who are just trying to disconnect my cable. So we went to Germany. We had actually quite a good time in Germany. There's, funnily enough, a lot of synagogues there, which we went to, I moved around quite a bit as well. And then I moved to Shetland, where I lived for 8 years on an island above the mainland. Very hard to be Jewish there because there were no others. So it was just me and my son. We went down to Aberdeen on a fairly regular basis, and joined in the community there after a little while. And then Daniel wanted to go to university in Aberdeen, so we moved down to Aberdeen. But of course, he never went to university in Aberdeen, but he did go to college in Aberdeen. So we moved down to Aberdeen, and I got involved with the community there, and started off by being vice president, and then became the president. We have our services. We've got a small community in Aberdeen, and we have a building which it's not purpose built, it's a house. So we have the synagogue on the ground floor and the community rooms on the second floor, on the first floor. And we have our services, we have our members. We do quite a lot of fundraising because we have a building. It's like a constant drain. I work as a nurse at the moment. I'm a practice nurse, and that's about it. I met Sarah, whom you'll be talking to later on. When I was in the military, I was invited by Malcolm Wiseman to the Jewish military weekends at Amport House. Met her soon-to-be husband there first of all, and then met Sarah, and we just got on like a house on fire. So we've been friends ever since. Our children are born around the same ages, so they just got together, and that's it really. We go to shul. Daniel goes to shul. He had his bar mitzvah when he was 18 because he didn't feel ready for it, so we had it done then. I have lots of friends who aren't Jewish. I have lots of friends who are. Mostly people at work know that I'm Jewish. We don't really talk about it unless they want to ask me something. But I certainly don't advertise it to the patients. I don't think it's any of their business unless they've asked me a specific question. But yeah, mostly we eat vegetarian and fish. Special trips to Glasgow or Manchester or London or wherever we're going. Otherwise, I make challah. That's about it, really. I don't really have much else to say. Probably sounds more interesting than it is.
Do you feel, like other people have mentioned, do you feel that to a certain extent you're making your own Jewish life? You know, you have to be very active in order to pursue your Jewish life.
I suppose, but we have a shul, so it is a little different. We don't often get a minyan, so there are things that we can't do. But yes, I suppose. But we make our own, Lord. Thank you, Fiona. That was when I was living in Shetland, and I'd made that in the Rayburn behind, and that's my son on the left. Oh, on the right. Yeah, my left. Yes, I suppose we do. And when I was in Shetland, my friends would quite often say, you know, we'll come for Friday night dinner, and I'd be like, oh, I have to think of something to cook. But yeah, no, you do make your own. You do make your own life because there aren't that many people in Aberdeen. So yes, we do have it a little bit easier than like Linda or Hadassah, because there is a community in Aberdeen. But yeah, you have to do a lot of it yourself.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, and for another view on life in the Aberdeen synagogue Jewish community.